We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this project is created, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We'd also like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging.
Settle down and gather round for another tale. In the world of Nua, where time has carved and cultivated a magical utopia of wonder, a small group of adventurers unlock the deep mysteries of the land, its people, and themselves. Welcome to the Down Under Dungeon podcast.
19th day of second summer. Dear Feng, it might be weird to write to yourself, but you haven't written since Quig. With Holly returning from the past, institutions contemplating the idea of completely changing their morals just to maintain power, and the continent of Nua seemingly crumbling, you're going to need to trust yourself more than ever. It turns out a few things have been orchestrated by Bastet and Holly all along. Bastet convinced the Jarl of Feldsparr to change the Four Eyes mission to focus on the Apani. They've been working toward a grander plan. They want us to go with Holly to sail east toward Shadowfell. From there, Holly wants to fly to the moons and mine the resources. She promised us a 10% cut from whatever she sold should we help her, but it seems like just another time where money shouldn't really be the answer to everything, especially when the fate of Nua seems to hang in the balance. But we have been instructed to find allies, as we will need as many as we can to crew the airship. I know you don't want Holly to get a jump on the party again, so finding someone to spy on her might be a good idea. Holly mentioned that mushrooms were clinging to the walls where she came back from the past, where the old Apani civilization was. It seems my mushroom friends are going, but I don't think they're ready for a journey east. Louis and Lysandra went to convince Charity at the Priory to navigate for us, and going with Denis to find Professor Caressa somewhere around the Jarl's palace was a good idea. She hasn't been seen in a few days, so hopefully she's okay. Normally, you put things off, but passing the Discordia of Earth, it really felt like something was calling to you. Planting 2 magical beans was a bit risky. I know you were hoping to get some kind of sign from nature and fate itself. A beautiful golden tree erected in the middle of the grotto, producing 29 golden apples, which were quickly given to Denis. Again, why does everything have to revolve around money? But luckily, that wasn't all. The second bean created a beautiful okami, a sleek serpentine-like creature that flew away on the horizon. Its nest is in the tree though, so hopefully it comes back. There were 3 eggs left behind that Denis said could improve your weakest areas. Hope I don't get in trouble for taking those. With everything going on lately, the signs all seem to be there that this was what needed to happen. Though the egg blew up upon consumption, and I can imagine nearly dying twice in as many days is starting to become a bit tiring. 2 more attempts to try and become smarter. Sprinting across the city to make sure Cecilia was okay, you knocked a few people over, so it might be a good idea to go and apologize. You do not, however, need to apologize to that person who clearly did not respect or care for animals properly, so stealing a second mantelope, I think we now have everything we need for this mission. From Feng.
These guys are probably too old to have studied Catcher in the Rye in year 10.
No. We did everyone.
No. Catcher in the Rye is a shockingly recent book.
Yeah.
Mark Chapman went to the future, read it, and then killed John Lennon.
Okay.
Get her, Jade. So you heard it here first on the podcast. Oscar will not stand for Catcher in the Rye slander.
It's a great book that inspired one of the great events.
Please, no. Holden Caulfield should die in a ditch, and I will stand by that.
Okay, this is not extra content. This is a mainstream episode. We are not diving into the semantics.
Okay.
But we could. Hey, why not? What would you call Catcher in the Rye one shot?
Please, God. Don't.
The Drop Tails.
Literally.
The Drop Tails.
No, I hate it.
Oh, dear.
Sorry for anyone who's a fan of Catcher in the Rye, but I'm good.
Diversify.
Please.
Pick up To Kill a Mockingbird. We beg you.
We beg you.
After last session, we are preparing for a voyage. Ooh. Excited, gang? Nervous?
So keen.
But also nervous. Feng doesn't like water, but also he was on a pirate ship, so it's also... He's done this before. He'll be good at it, right?
Feng will be great at it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it flies. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, don't worry about the water.
Especially after that, like, kraken that we fought.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about in the water.
So, of course, the School of Cats is a blur of activity as Holly and her crew make hasty preparations for their epic voyage east. Holly and Charity have been in deep research, cross-referencing weather charts, fishing maps, sea gyre rotations, and seasonal temperatures to secure a rough route east. Finkel Fortescue has been busy in his workshop, his emporium inconspicuously foreclosed, tinkering away with his gnomish tools and Apani charts well into the night. Bastet barks commands to her subordinates to complete the finishing touches to the Halyghast, installing cannons and filling the hull with provisions and powder to last the journey. All under the nose of the city of Feldsparr, apparently unaware of their clandestine operation. What are the Wellspringers doing as you finish up in the early hours of the morning? Denny.
I think Denny is probably hanging around with Finkel Fortescue, trying to... I don't know, I think he sees a kindred spirit in terms of making things, in terms of... he sees that artificering and being a chef are weirdly quite similar in terms of the way that you create, and is going to try and make a few little gizmos and doodads and gargoos and things to help us in our voyage going forward.
I think I heard that in the Little Mermaid song, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, Denny, being wanted for the authorities for operating an unlicensed food stall and the suspected base jump from the Priory of Skye, you are largely confined to the catacombs of the School of Cats, lest you are arrested and the mission compromised. So, while it is good that Finkel's here, I would say you spend the last couple of hours in his workshop. He'll come out every now and then and help you. He might ask you to hand him a few tools, but he's very, very absorbed into his work. And it's very much like treating you like an assistant almost, but that's fine with you because you're in the kind of outer space of his office drying kraken meat. Large strips of this dark black and purple meat have been strung up high in the eaves of the catacombs away from the grubby hands of the rogues that live there. It starts to cure into strips of this dried, deep purple flesh. The texture is, well, acquired. And despite a diet of unknown eldritch horrors at the bottom of the Feldsparry Bay, the kraken jerky tastes like chicken.
Delicious. Finkel, would you like a piece of kraken jerky?
You see Finkel sniffs this purple meat very, very... He's like, Daddy, I'm sorry. If I eat that, I swear to I probably would die. Like, constitution is not really my thing. I'd definitely throw that up immediately.
No,
I wouldn't want to offend.
No, I understand. It's fine.
Well, Denny, no, don't.
No, it's fine. No, can I roll a deception check to see if he knows if I'm sad? It's a 7.
I'm gonna roll insight on Finkel. Not the most insightful chap. He rolled a 6.
Oh my god.
You see, he goes, "Oh, Denny's, no, please don't start crying. And none of the rogues really ever start crying when I yell at them. Would you like here?" And he runs back into his workshop and produces to you a small stone jug and gifts it to you. He explained that this was a family heirloom of his, but it's far more goopy than his taste, and he's far more interested in gears and liquid. And to try and satiate your tears, you are gifted the alchemist's jug.
Oh, shit.
Ooh. I think, like, sort of pretending to wipe away tears, now being a master of deception.
With that -2.
Yeah, exactly. Then he's gonna go, "You mean I can have this?"
Of course. And anything else from my workshop you need before we go, just help yourself.
Do you have a stick?
A stick?
Yeah, you know, like a walking stick.
Okay, I don't have everything, Denny, but...
It's okay.
Oh, no, I'll see! And you see he goes in and just starts hacking off handles and some of his tools. Was there anything you would be perhaps tinkering away at, Denny?
Yes.
You've been given a lot of raw materials lately.
I have been given a lot of raw materials, and now to use those materials rawly.
You're welcome.
So dirty.
Thank you, Feng. Okay, I think the first thing that Denny is going to be doing is going to be taking 4 of these apples that Feng so graciously gifted to him and him alone, and he's going to dice them and sort of chuck them into a pot to like kind of caramelize. Going to sauce some flour and a bit of water to make himself like a bit of pastry, and he's going to make himself like an apple crumble homunculus.
Are you making a tinkerer's check just to see how well you do?
Absolutely. Tinkerer's check. That's a 17.
Hey.
17. I would say this is probably a project you've been working on with Finkel for a little bit, and whereas Denny really is getting the art side of this, Finkel is probably just twisting the nods of the science side every now and then, and will every now and then come up to your cauldron and be like, oh, that's Denny, look over there, and then add some incredibly powerful magic. And after a while, and you pour your mold and it dries, you see your golden automaton is finally ready for duty.
Oh, you are the most beautiful thing I have ever created.
You see his form is not perfect. Like it was made by a home cook full of love rather than a Michelin star chef. The skin is mottled, and every now and then you see a loose golden stem jutting from a forearm or some freckles of apple seeds. His eyes and nose, although functional, seem somewhat lopsided and homely, like a scarecrow gardening your grandfather's garden. Despite this, the automaton is gleaming in gilded gold, truly a sight to behold even for Finkel, and especially your crew of rogues who gawk at their new quartermaster with slack jaws, drooling mouths, and a hawkish gaze.
Are we going to have to save our quartermaster from being eaten?
Probably. By the crew themselves, yes.
Oh gosh.
If anyone lays a single fucking finger on my sweet boy, I will fucking murder them.
Louis, what are you doing in the early hours of the morning?
Louis's been kind of taking a moment to look at the sails and the make of this ship, and having been somewhat of a seamstress along with her bardic duties, she has been kind of chatting to a couple of the rogues who've been maintaining these for a while, looking at the foresails and the aft sails, kind of learning their dimensions and their make and how to patch them, and is kind of just at the moment sitting and weaving together some of her finer threads into a much thicker, stronger material to be able to patch anything that may happen or go wrong.
Louis, you are approached by one of the crew, a female kobold by the name of Daisy, and she looks at your threads and signs to you, "That's not going to cut it, honey," and throws you a pack. Inside, you see that this is a kit containing 2 bundles of airship sailcloth, 50 feet of rope, hooked canvas needles, tungsten eyelets, dyes and solutions to treat and waterproof fabric, as well as alloy-infused thread.
Incredible.
Daisy explains to you that with this kit you can replace 2 sails entirely, as well as make 20 repair checks on the Halyghast.
Beautiful. I will look up at her and just sign back, "Thank you so very much. That's incredible."
Give me an insight check to see how much you have gleaned from Daisy.
Sure. That was a 23.
23. With that, Louis, you are able to, in this last couple of days, you've definitely been making the rounds on the cat school and getting caught up with the gossip. And you know Daisy is a short, yellow and green spotted kobold. She has one eye significantly larger than the other. And Bastet informs you that she rescued Daisy from an abusive crime ring who cut out her tongue. Daisy uses thieves' cant and sign to communicate now, but her fearsome side and silent demeanour commands great respect from her crewmates.
As Louis thinks about the things that she's learned about Daisy over the last day, looks over at her and signs, "This is an incredible honour to have been given these things by you, and I hope that I can do well by you choosing to give them to me."
You see she smiles and sniggers a little bit and walks off to the other robes. Lysandra, deep within the catacombs of the cat school, in a small crevice where the sounds of water and wind die away, you crouch, looking nervously back into the cave behind you to see if you were followed. Drawing your sword, you study the hilt and the bone-white blade. What do you do?
Keeping the blade out in front of her, Lysandra thinks back to when she first made connection with her dad, and knowing that no one has followed her as far as she's aware, she's going to close her eyes and try to reach out. And she sort of speaks out into the cave, not in her head, not really knowing what she's doing. Please, Dad, if you're there, please answer me, please hear me.
After a while, and when you think that maybe you've done something wrong and something hasn't worked, the last sound from the cave dies out. And almost like a whisper in your left ear, and then your right, and then eventually, in an almost disassociated fashion, your father's voice returns to you in this cave. Sandra, is that you?
It is.
What is it? Are you okay? What happened?
Nothing happened. I'm fine. I wanted to hear from you. To know that you're still there.
You hear silence, and then I'm with you, Sandra. I felt your power. Did you not feel me there with you? And you recall back to the Kraken fight when you summoned your eldritch powers for the first time.
I did feel you there, and it was amazing. Thank you. Can you tell me something?
Anything.
What was my mother like?
Another pause. You know, I considered myself a pretty powerful sorcerer, but I was helpless in the gaze of Lysandra. You see, I am, or was, a shadow sorcerer, gifted by birth in the arts that this world seems taboo, unnatural, an affront to the natural order. But not Lysandra, perhaps because she was a witch, or she saw something more in me, I cannot say. To be truthful, my daughter, I did not know of your existence. My machinations and powers attracted those far darker and sinister, and I was deceived by the Umbra Lord himself, Belial. I am here, imprisoned by great and powerful magic. For years I resigned myself to my exile, but then I felt something connected to me in a way I thought was beyond my capacity. I felt your anger, your anguish, your loneliness. But I was a world away. Between the bonds of my capture as well as the warding spells Maelcy has on you, I was only able to send signs. But then you were strong enough and wise enough to hear me. And for that I am grateful. For now I know I am no longer alone. And through this sword at least, you can hear me.
Oh man. I feel like I've had like a book dumped on my head.
So does this mean we're going to have to fight the...
Lord of the Shadowfell?
Yeah, great.
Oh, man. Cool, fun. Even though Lysandra's obviously not with him, she's projecting her energy in a way that is like a daughter piercing into the eyes of her dad in a sort of sense of seriousness. How do I know that any of this is true if you've just started feeling my presence? I mean, I've got people that have been treating me like a daughter, and a lot of them haven't treated me well, but why should I believe you?
Sweet child, have these people given you power? Have these people given you agency? I offer you nothing but capacity. Believe me, if you wish me to rot here for eternity, I surely deserve it.
I don't wish that upon you. I want to come and help you, I do, but how do I know that you won't abandon me again?
Abandonment is part of this world, Lysandra.
I don't care.
No, you must. You were abandoned. My cult abandoned me for my beliefs and my magics. You can let it rule you and let fear rule you, and you will always be that scared little girl.
I'm not scared.
Then take up your sword and do what you want to do.
Promise me you won't abandon me. I will come, I will save you, I will free you. Promise me you won't abandon me again.
I could never abandon my blood. Feng. Perhaps feeling you need to steel yourself for another journey by sea, you've spent a majority of your time preparing in the Discordia of Earth grotto, meditating below the golden apple tree that you summoned not a few days prior with your wondrous magic beams. Already, tiny silver white flowers have appeared on the tree, and the alchemy now and then will return to its nest to rest, causing your mantelope to retreat in fear to the entrance of the grotto.
Excuse you, mantelopes.
Yes.
Mantelope.
I'm pretty sure mantelope is also the collective noun.
Never mind then.
Cecilia and her new friend have made themselves most comfortable in each other's presence. As a herd animal, Cecilia is much more at rest with one of her own, and as you meditate, they float aimlessly around the chamber, calling to each other softly.
Hey Cecilia, I hope you like your new friend Patrick.
Patrick? God damn it.
And I think also Feng has Promi out in this moment as well, and him and Promi are probably just sitting with the Phoenix Flame in between them. And Feng's just trying to reiterate to himself that this was the right decision, that he only took a little bit of the flame to go and get judged by the Phoenix because clearly the Wildfire Circle couldn't do it themselves. So he's really just trying to convince himself that this was the right thing to do all along.
Just give me a wisdom check.
Okay. That's an 18.
You sit in your meditative trance in this place. No one has come here since you've been here. It seems in this place where the natural world has been cast aside by its people, you sit defiantly in this place of peace. The Phoenix's flame, the eternal flame, the ancestor of your circle, sits on the ground in front of you. Promi kind of is like running through it like a garden sprinkler.
Sounds about right.
And you have a vision.
Oh.
Ooh.
I was like, you like goosebumps.
Is it like appearing in the flames? Or is it, is Feng seeing it?
You're seeing this.
Okay.
You see a dark land, an extinct volcano, shards of ice, and the cry of a phoenix.
No!
Much older than Promi's.
Does it remind me of the phoenix cry I heard when I was knocked out and dreamed during the bronze wormling fight, like many, many episodes ago?
Not only is it the same cry, but it is louder and closer.
Do I get a sense of, like, pain from that cry? Is it a cry of, like, sadness or a cry of, like, agony and pain?
You know the sound of a phoenix, Feng. The sound is of life and death, of renewal, the cycle, the essence of life made sound. That is what the phoenix cry sounds like. It is both comforting and devastating.
I think Feng's gonna tuck Promi back into the lamp, put it into his bag, and call Cecilia and Patrick over. Is the Occamy around?
The Occamy is not around.
Damn
it's
it.
late in the morning.
I'm just trying to recruit as many animals as I can, to be honest.
That's why it's not there.
And he's going to start to make his way to the ship with this vision honestly playing on his mind again and again. I think Feng, although, is the type of person to not try and let those visions take up too much of his thoughts. You know, I feel like druids get messages for a reason, and it's not like you can make answers appear or figure it out if you don't have the answers. So this vision has come to him when he's made the decision to go east, so therefore it must be the right decision.
Well, before the sun's light graces the horizon, the Halyghast is tested in the water. Before the curtains to the Smuggler's Cove is lifted and the arcane engine is prepped to be started, you all board the ship. Rushing through the crowds of onlooking rogues, you see a pale complexion, Finkel, holding up in his tiny hand an enormous glowing crystal. See, Bastet, I did it, and with time to spare. As Finkel boards the ship, you see the facets of the precious gem. White clear, the light seems to be trapped inside it, refracting in a swirling vortex like some ethereal nebula. As Finkel begins to insert the europium into the arcane engine, you hear him mutter to himself, "Well, I could have synthesized this sooner, with a sample not positively swimming in fairy blood."
Oh.
Standing back and flicking a switch, a low arcane hum begins to lightly vibrate the vessel. The sails, laced with boning of reactive alloys, snap taut, and the boosters begin emanating large amounts of heat. Just as Bastet stands aboard to wish you farewell and good luck, a shudder seems to grip the ship for a brief instance, before everything returns to normal, and a familiar, disembodied, and somewhat ephemeral voice speaks across the Halyghast. Good morning, my name is Q, and I am the integrated consciousness of this here vessel, the Halyghast. How may I assist your voyage on this day?
Get the fuck out of I think Feng just probably starts crying. I don't, like, that's, oh shit.
Wellspringers who were on the Sidewinder expedition make a Arcana or History check.
Amber, you're so funny.
What do we get?
Lysandra got a natural 1, which -1 is a 0.
Dirty 0.
Lysandra, you have no clue what's happening.
Louis got a 22.
Nice.
Ooh.
Feng got a 16.
Louis, you remember back to the Sidewinder expedition and the Lich Bard whose essence was sustained by European-laced makeup in a compact. It stands to reason then that pure europium would have essentially carbon-copied Quig's sentience upon his death. You also know the state of lost souls in this world, and the incapacity of Quig's soul to move on may have made this even more possible.
Of course.
Oh my god.
How did we not think of that?
Sorry, I'm new here. Was Quig always a boat?
Wait, Quig is... Oh!
Dude, Feng's just gonna ask, maybe you should have cleaned the blood off the europium before... Sorry, guys.
Go.
I mean, I'm so glad to have Quig here, but like, are we okay with the like constant trauma?
You see, Finkel is like jumping around the arcane engine, being like, "This wasn't supposed to happen," and being like, "I got as much of it out as I could. It was really hard. This is a prototype. This is all experimental."
Louis looks at the group and looks at Finkel freaking out, and with everything can almost feel and see the physicality of Quig's disconnected, disembodied voice, and looks at all of you and says, "The spirits have been stuck in their own way. If this is him helping us out from beyond where he is, I for one am incredibly happy to see him."
I suppose if, we're going to solve so that the souls can pass on, it's nice that he's coming with us.
Louis turns to Denis and just says, "So Quig was not always a boat. No. This is...
Oh, okay.
There's a myriad of different things going on with life and death, and he is here in a way. I don't know how much of him is him and how much of him is magic and europium, but it's something."
Yeah, Daniel's thinking here now because we wanted someone to spy on Holly. If there is still part of Quig that we can reach, what better ally?
Does Holly recognize this?
Yeah, what's Holly's reaction?
Give me a perception check.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Let's do it.
Insight or perception?
Perception.
All right. Okay.
Feng got an 18.
Lysandra got an 11.
Denis also got an 11.
You see, Holly is not necessarily upset. She doesn't think that Quig's come back from the death or anything, but to her, this is something new. And she doesn't hide it, but she's not surprised. Perhaps this technology is not so foreign in the Apani Empire.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
She's seen a lot of dead friends come back in various vehicles.
In various vehicles.
Just a car possessed by the soul of your friend Stuart.
What meets the eye?
What vehicles did the Apani have?
A Tesla.
No.
No, shit, sorry.
It's
A Ford. It's a weird day when you're going Henry Ford as the least capitalistic option. That guy, chill dude.
With the night slowly fading into morning, you must away, and whether you like it or not, it seems that this sentience queue is tied to the Halyghast, and you make your way out of the tiny smuggler's cave at the rear of Feldsparr. Still gliding along the water at this point, how are you going to evade detection?
Just as the ship launches and passes through the curtains, you can hear just a very subtle little flute melody as Louis kind of plays accompaniment to her own little words that she's spreading as she's commanded her flute to play itself as she walks around and just kind of touches people on the shoulder. And you're all going to get 9 temporary hit points as we start off this journey.
Sick.
Ooh.
Amazing.
What's that from?
It's from the Inspiring Leader feat.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh.
How long do they last?
Temporary hit points last until you take a long rest or you lose them.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you.
How are you concealing your exit from Feldsparr?
Feng can probably help with that one, actually. Feng's gonna just start running up and down the boat and clicking his fingers everywhere, and where he clicks, tiny sparks of fire ignite in the air, but as they do so, they almost burst into these like balls of gas and... Sorry, not gas. I'm gonna try that again. As they...
Feng rips it, the ship.
Things ripping ass and everyone's looking away.
Actually, do you know what? That's what we're going with.
No!
Feng
Yes.
starts walking around the boat, ripping ass, and casts a 3rd level fog cloud that is his fart.
Crop dusting the entirety of Feldsparr.
And he's like to everyone, oh, this is going to smell like shit, but I hope this covers our exit.
Denny's looking quite sheepish, thinking that it's probably the Kraken jerky that's done this.
Louis just lighting incense going around.
Do not want to light it.
No fire, no fire.
It's just lighting itself.
Yeah, any amount of fire is going to set this thing off.
You are able to escape the Feldsparry Bay, and this is how our voyage is going to work.
Ooh.
Every day, the captain and navigator must make sailing and navigation checks, wisdom and intelligence respectively, to maneuver the ship in such a way that meets the maximum distance travelled for the vessel. For the Halyghast, that's 275 miles a day. Charity believes the expedition will take 3 months, a total of 24,750 miles to the Umbra Isles. However, over this time, the Wellspringers must train and learn to sail should they hope to survive the voyage. Apart from Denis, no one in the party has cannon proficiency, and so must roll in order to learn and gain the skills from other powder monkeys and rogues aboard the ship. Other customizable weapons on the ship will also need training in similar ways. Per week, determined by the sailing, navigation, and morale, the party will roll encounter checks. The weaker the checks throughout the week, the more encounters may be experienced, slowing the journey. Every week after the encounter, the ship will roll a morale check, determining the feeling aboard and whether priorities might need to be swayed differently.
I can't wait for this.
As you are ingratiating yourself to the crew, you see that there are around 7 swashbucklers that Bastet has provided for you. And let me not mince my words here. She has not given you her best men and women. This is, for all intents and purposes, a very lucrative suicide mission for these rogues, and so they have little disregard for their own lives. However, amongst the rabble, there are a few rogues that seem to command the respect of others. Louis, you have already ingratiated yourself to Daisy, the yellow and green spotted kobold, but there are 2 other rogues that seem to have a very good read and rapport with the rest of your crew. There is Grick, a wiry bugbear with mangy fur and a ragged bandana covering a missing ear. Grick is one of the oldest crew members here, and old rogues are inherently an oxymoron given their relatively short lifespan. Grick is plagued with rheumatism, arthritis, high blood pressure, hearing loss, cataracts, chronic back and neck pain, a nasty infliction of obstructive bowel disease, and all of this makes him as irritable as he is dangerous.
Did you ask me permission to base a character on me?
Finally, another elderly person that Louis can lament with.
Yeah.
There is also Plimp, Plimp is a charismatic halfling with...
I want a romance arc with Plimp.
Yes!
Let me finish. Plimp is a charismatic halfling with only 3 fingers on one hand and a wooden leg. Denny's like, you don't say.
Tell me more.
Despite her injuries caused from diabetes, not swordplay, she is as fearsome with a cutlass as any and has amassed a reputation in Feldsparr as a competent thief and assassin. Plimp has remarked loudly to her crewmates several times about her excitement to pillage as many towns as she can on their way east.
I really want to fuck Plimp.
This saga is now called Denny fucks Plimp.
Romance
sounds-
high seas.
That sounds like a great movie. Denny fucks Plimp.
When Denny fucked Plimp.
Yeah. Can we roll for how hot?
No! For the first 3 days, Holly and Charity both make their sailing and navigation checks, getting above a 17, so it's very clear for the first 3 days. I would just like to get an idea where everyone is migrating on the ship and how are you starting to introduce yourself to the crew?
Feng definitely wants to ingratiate himself to the crew, but first he would actually like to go up to Holly because he's kind of thinking about the whole structure of this ship and the operations of it all. So he'd like to go up to Holly and ask, hey Holly, I've got a couple questions. Is that okay?
Of course, Feng, you're always so polite to me.
Yes, Wait, was that? Never mind. So what happens if you, get knocked overboard or die? What happens to the ship? And the crew? Who's in charge after you? I'm just was that a bad way to ask?
That was an incredibly bad way to ask, Feng.
Oh, I'm sorry. Feng starts looking around.
Okay, sweet. Well, I guess, that's actually a pretty good point, Feng. But what is your point?
I'm just thinking that I've sailed on a pirate ship once, so...
Oh, so you're a bit of an expert.
Yeah, I think I am.
Okay.
So I was just wondering if you have a first mate position or anything. I've been looking for growth into leadership, so...
Okay, well, make a persuasion check. As flat of a persuasion check.
That's an 8.
Oh god.
Holly is not an idiot. And she turns to you and says, Feng, you make some good points, and if leadership is what you're looking for, then stand there, and I repeat, very quietly, and watch. And just moving forward, if we're going to be establishing leadership qualities, telling your peers that I'm a bitch is probably not one of them.
Yeah, okay. That's a fair point. But I'm just,
Yeah, the no talking thing, Feng. Really, really double down on that. Lesson 1.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll try.
I immediately love her. She's amazing.
You love Ollie?
I love this whole attitude she's got. It's so good.
She's always had an attitude.
I mean, she's always had an
She
attitude.
just wasn't using you for adventure fodder.
Well, exactly. Lysandra is going to look around. She doesn't really know much about ship stuff at all. She's going to go over to Denny. So, Denny, could I maybe follow you around and you can teach me a thing or two? Because I don't really feel too useful right now. And I mean, you seem like you know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Follow me.
That is what some might call a character flaw.
And Denny, not knowing what Lysandra's referring to, is going to try and talk her through a couple of his recipes. So to be a good sous chef, basically it involves me screaming at you and you saying yes, chef, to anything I say.
Okay.
So, for example, bring me the chopped celery.
Oh, yes, yes, chef.
There.
Yes, chef.
That's all it is. That's the whole thing. Have you seen The Bear?
What is the best?
Never mind, we can't get him. Ask Feng.
Make your first intelligence check with disadvantage, Lysandra.
Man, I really called this at the start of today. That's a 4 on the dice, so a 3.
Hey, Lysandra, you might not know anything about cannons after your first day, but you can make a mean meal pie.
Fantastic. Lysandra is very happy.
I'll teach you anything else you would like to know.
Maybe something useful like cannons?
Something, okay.
Or you can introduce me to...
We can get into the attitude later, but absolutely, yes, I can teach you all about the cannons.
Thank you, Chef.
Just good. Denny's enjoying this. This is an ego boost like Denny has never had before.
So, because Lysandra and Feng are trying to train in navigation and cannon firing, you will have to make your proficiency checks in order to try and gain proficiency in this, both of you.
Okay.
So for Feng, this is a wisdom check, and for Lysandra, this is an intelligence check. You need to roll 5 d20s.
Can I help Lysandra with the intelligence?
Your help is enabling her to roll on these.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes
Otherwise, you could just roll for proficiencies, whatever.
Hey, Amber, how's Lysandra's intelligence?
It's still at a -1.
Good luck.
Lysandra, how many of those checks did you make above 14?
Unfortunately, only 1.
1 check. That is okay. You can write that down. You need to make 3 successful checks in order to gain a proficiency.
Perfect.
Feng. Yes, now steering the ship is a little bit harder than firing a gun.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am very sure. So your wisdom DC is 17.
I got 3 above 17.
Oh my goodness. Well done.
Holy crap.
I feel like, Feng, for the first week or so, you are just really taking what Holly said literally and standing and watching. But I think your druidic mind more so goes towards the wind and how it's moving, how it interacts with the sails and the ship, how the arcane engine moves through the air. And yes, you are able to now be a boatswain, which
Holy
means
crap.
you, in the event of emergency, can pilot the ship in the absence of the captain.
Too trusted Feng to drive a boat. I also think Feng is trying to take as much of Holly's advice as literally as possible, and this is, I reckon he's spoken maybe like 10 words in 5 days. Even though I wanted to come into the first mate position to try and keep crew morale up, I totally stuck my foot in that conversation, and so he's tried to just stay as silent as possible to get back in her good graces at the beginning.
At the end of the week, a bit of bad weather puts you back, blowing you off 50 miles. You will now need to make 2 encounter checks for your first week at sea. Can I get someone to roll 2d6 for me?
Sure thing. I'll give it a go. It is a 3 and a 4.
That's a good.
I heard they're the
Right.
best ones.
That means something really good happens.
We win the game.
Yeah, that's how it works.
2 more golden apple trees show up.
I need everyone on the table to roll me a d20.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Flat d20. Who got the lowest?
Then you got a 5.
That's the lowest.
On the 6th morning, before the sun kisses the horizon, a deep purple fog seems to emanate from the shoreline. In huge bouts and plumes, it soon engulfs the Halyghast, recalling of devastating memories of Feng's fart not a week prior.
Oh god, Feng, what did you do again?
No, I promise I didn't fart again.
Come on, man.
I said I'd never do it again.
The fog makes it difficult to see and everything becomes muffled and distorted. Denny, you hear the sound of a child, a small, weakened child, perhaps hours from death. Their soft, helpless pleas hang in the air. Please, is someone out there? I'm starved. I may yet perish, please. But a crust of stale bread for one as lost as I. Denny, how could you deny the call of a hungry mouth in need? I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Sure thing.
I thought you said they were the best ones.
That's a 9.
As you all try and move through the fog, you see Denny suddenly turn and walk off the side of the ship.
No, what?
I'm going to help someone. Bye.
Can I cast Hold Person as I see him walking off?
Is it a reaction?
It's an action.
You're looking it up.
It's definitely an action.
I know, it's an action.
You see Denny begins to fall off the ship. What do you do?
Feng immediately runs to the side of the ship. Is he in the water?
You are hundreds and hundreds of feet up in the air at this point.
Oh.
This was only to get out of the Feldsparr Bay that you were in the water.
Feng is going to use a wild shape and summon Promi to try and get Promi to fly down and teleport Denny back up.
Ooh. So you see Feng goes to the side of the ship and puts a tight spiral on Promi.
Like I'm throwing a Pokeball.
Make a ranged spell attack.
Sure. Does a 25 hit Denny?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Denny, in the haze, almost like the sun coming over you think the sun is rising and you are finally doing your duty as a chef to feed those who are hungry, and then you just get blasted by a bout of flame and reappear on the deck. Does it do damage?
It does damage if anyone is in the space where they teleport out of. So any birds within that vicinity, 5 feet, are cooked.
Can I make a dexterity check to try and grab the birds?
No. You are
Good eating.
But you do see once Denny is teleported back on the ship, Glaze Eyes proceeds to start walking and throwing himself back off the
Lysandra's
ship.
going
There's a
to
sad little boy. He needs my help.
Lysandra's going to jump down on top of Denny and try and hold him down in a grapple.
Can I get Denny and Lysandra to make a contested athletics check, please?
Let's go.
23?
Denis got a 10.
You smother that goblin.
You are not moving anywhere. Don't make me slap you, chef.
Then someone help the little orphan boy.
Feng would like to try something, a new spell that he has learned. Feng would like to, similar to when he was originally going to do the fog cloud with snaps of his fingers and ignitions of flames, he is going to almost snap in Denny's eyes as these like little embers sprinkle over his head, and I'm going to cast Dispel Magic.
On Denny.
Well, I'm wondering if something's charmed him or something.
You see Feng
Has
cast...
something charmed me?
Yes, you
I have
see...
advantage to end the charmed condition, to avoid or end it.
Oh, whoops.
This is why we communicate.
It's
Emerson.
fine, it's a bit.
No, it's fine. Just remember it for next time, thanks.
Yes. Oh, you're Faye, that's right. Yes, you cast Dispel Magic and Denny's eyes return to focus and you are removed from this condition. And the fog begins to dissipate and move down the coast.
I swear to God, if anybody has any weird magical effects or anything that happens, can we stay within reach of each other, please? Please.
Yeah, so I didn't want to. That's what happened.
I understand that.
Lysandra,
I'm asking.
Okay.
Lysandra's still holding you down, by the way. She is still, like, convinced that you might be possessed by something.
Lysandra, I don't mean to make it weird, but I'm kind of into this, so...
Oh, no! Don't say that!
And she's off.
Feng,
Oh, what?
at the beginning of the second week, I need you to make a nature check for me.
Now 20.
Oh my god. Over the last few days, you've noticed Cecilia is becoming more and more confident on the ship. High in the air rather than roiling on the sea, she spends most of her day with Patrick, circling the masthead and the sails in complex patterns. Their singing to each other has gotten more repetitive. And with that nat 20, it appears to you that this is some kind of mating ritual. It appears you inadvertently stole Cecilia a mate.
Oh my god, stop it, I'm gonna cry.
Patrick will occasionally present Cecilia with gifts, which she sharply analyzes and tosses any trinkets not to her fancy overboard. And with that nat 20, I will also say, you know that any animal going through a pregnancy needs extra rations.
Oh.
Should you consider sharing half of your rations, this would ensure Cecilia has an easy gestation period. Should you wish to share your rations, you must roll a DC 10 Constitution save per week or suffer a level of exhaustion. It is up to you.
Am I becoming a mother? What's happening? What?
Grandmother, technically.
Yeah.
Isn't this what Feng wanted?
I don't know. Yeah, of course I'm gonna do it.
So we need a DC 10 Constitution saving throw.
How does a 7 do?
Not good. You are not feeling well over the first week here, Feng. But Cecilia is glowing.
That's all I want?
Moving into the second week, Louis has been kind of distant from everything at the moment. She's sort of been observing everyone a little more than interacting with a lot of stuff. I think hearing the ship talk with Quig's voice shook her a lot more than she likes to let on. And over the last few days has been kind of working up the courage to go and investigate exactly what this iteration of Quig is and who he is now, if she could potentially go and have a chat to him.
I feel, given that you're not quite sure what this is, you probably go to Finkel and not Quig, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And given that it's been about a week, Finkel has been able to fine-tune some of the resonating crystals and the ship's interface with Q. And Q is able now to give readouts to Finkel on the condition of the ship and starts to point out areas for repair and reinforcement and things like that. And one day, when you approach him, he says, Louis, well, great you're here. If you're actually wanting some help with Q, I might need an extra pair of hands.
Yeah, good morning, Finkel. Of course, whatever you need.
Right, well, you see, the thing is, the European crystal combined with Q's essence, it's too much output for the housing unit around the crystal. I need you to hold it for me while I weld some reinforcements to the internal array. And you see he, with his elbow, busts open the hatch to the arcane engine, and you see the European crystal in there.
You want me to grab this thing with my bare hands?
Yeah, you see he takes one hand, pulls the crystal out, it's still attached with some wires, and he hands it to you. This was going to be for Denny, but considering you wanted to talk to Finkel, I need you to make me a DC 15 Constitution saving throw.
Oh.
No problems. It's a 5.
As you feel the warm crystal in your hand, what do you do?
Being so lost amongst the living over the last few decades and finally having some kind of answer and having this ability to potentially talk to someone who is still stuck within that in-between, and almost with just a mother's love at the desperation of seeing that lost person, she grabs a hold of this crystal and just tries to connect with whatever might be in here. She just mentally tries to dive into it. She does.
What question do you want answered?
I think she just wants to ask, where are you?
You, with that question, you hear back as you lose consciousness. My name is Q. I am the integrated intelligence on this ship. And you take 14 points of lightning damage. And the next thing you realize is Finkel grabbing the crystal out of you and jamming it back in the array. He looks down at your smoking body on there and he goes, "You're a gem, thanks so much," and scuttles off. The next week also seems to go out without a hitch. Holly and Charity both succeed for 4 out of the 5 checks for the next day. You are put another 50 miles behind, and we will need an encounter check, please, for the second week.
I'll roll this one. 2d6.
Just one.
That's a 3.
Lysandra, one night where the clouds break way to reveal the blanket of stars, Charity flies to the crow's nest, or in this case, owl's nest, to observe the night sky through an intricate copper telescope. Her sharp amber eyes begin tracing and mapping onto a small scroll of parchment. As you climb up the rigging to her, she remarks to you without taking her eyes from the telescope, "Aren't Will and Mael so majestic tonight? You know, the moons."
Oh, yes, the moons.
You know which one's which.
Yes, definitely.
Lysandra, even you know that Fwill is the slightly smaller red celestial body, while Maella is slightly larger and deep cerulean blue. As she says there, she starts to muse to you and says, "I wonder what Holly believes she will find there. If anything, I must admit, for a rogue and a scoundrel, she has quite lofty aspirations."
Lysandra mentions lofty aspirations is one thing. She's done a lot of study from what I understand, and, well, her plans are extreme. I mean, she dreams of going to the moons. That seems impossible. right?
Well, Bruni did it before, of course, the gnome who was lost forever. I must admit, I also have a fascination with them, but, from more of a priory perspective. As you know, these moons arrived around the same time as the gods of sky. I wonder if one of those moons stood vigil over their own original realm, eons ago.
What realms would those be?
Well, you know that the gods of sky were once gods in their own right, their own planes of existence until the calamity, and now they are brothers, sisters in arms, asserting their influence here. Who knows where those moons once came from? I mean, if I was guessing, I would say the red moon must be from Avernus that was destroyed, and perhaps Maella from Elysium. You'll never know, I guess. Many theorize. But you've known Holly for a long time, right?
I mean, not that long, but we've adventured with her.
Longer than me, that's for sure.
Well, yes. I mean, from what I've seen of Holly so far, she seems like she has a mission, like she wants our help, and I mean, we're happy to help her again. We've done it before, and she seems like she hasn't got any malicious intent right now. So I hope we can all learn something from her.
Or indeed, and Lysandra, but what's your mission then?
Well, I have to go out east to free my dad. It's as simple as that, really.
Just that simple.
That's it. Nothing else to ask.
Yeah.
She kind of just sweats a little bit.
You see she goes back to her maps, clearly not having the emotional range to deal with such a bomb in that moment, and you sit the rest of the night in deafening silence.
I feel like Sandra's just kind of watching, but not really learning too much as the conversation's kind of dwindled off.
I did roll a morale check at the start of the first week, which you passed. It stays the same. It's neither positive nor negative.
Beautiful.
As we move into the tail end of the second week, is there anything anyone would like to do?
As we come to the end of the second week, I think Denis, knowing that he's the cook and is going to be popular regardless, doesn't give a fuck about anyone on this ship except for his friends, his little pipers, and then, of course, Plimp. Seeing Louis struggle and being a bit reclusive, I think Denis is going to try and find her and approach Louis and say, Bonjour, mademoiselle, I have a gift for you. And is going to present Louis with the table leg, I think we decided it was, but the table leg walking stick that he got from Finkel a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you. This is very well carved. I mean, I don't really have a table to put it on.
Louis, it is not very well carved. It's a table leg.
To be nice.
Make a deception check. That's hilarious. And Denny's just got these big eyes.
You like, yes?
It's a 15.
She's a bard. She knows what she's saying.
And then Denis' insight.
No, what's your passive insight, Denny?
Passive insight is 11. I'm so glad you enjoy it, but it is not for tables. You just need to say that I am great.
That I am great?
No. Say that my name is great.
Oh, you cheeky little bugger. Denny is great.
And the table leg transforms into a long sword. It is look, I did not pick the name of this thing. This is not any shade thrown at you. It is called a veteran's cane. Basically, as long as you are holding it and you speak the command phrase, Denny is great. And then it transforms back again into the
table leg.
Into a table leg, yeah.
Thank you. That's really lovely of you. I owe you one.
No, of course not. It is it's mostly a table leg, so it is not actually that expensive.
I do have to find a way to clip this onto my belt or my back or something. That maybe I can make it functional in some way.
Yeah, it's like a walking stick kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, my hips got put back in place a little while ago. I mean, I could always use the extra support just in case.
Yeah, you know.
Preventative healthcare is very important.
Listen, I mean, it's expensive to get hip replacements. It's a big bit of magic. I mean,
when am I going to find another magic well?
literally.
So our next encounter is a magic well, right?
Yeah, fully.
As the initial steps of the Wellspringer's voyage have been taken, the party begins to settle. As the great realm of Nuar stretches endlessly on your left, you pass a familiar visage far off into the distance, a great jutting scar meandering its way across the landscape like a great serpent. The Sidewinder Canyon. As you pass this place and continue north, Charity begins hooting cautions of a prevailing headwind. The cold winds from the north are here, and even at the end of the season, storms can still take a sailor unprepared. Sure enough, a huge swell begins to develop far in the east, out in the squall of the shimmering sea. For the rest of the day, you careen around the path of this maelstrom as its clouds become even thicker, darker, and menacing. I just need to roll a few things.
Okay.
Just a few?
Just a few.
I need the crew to make a perception check, please.
The crew as in us or the
Us
crew?
four, yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Group perception check.
Feng got a 9.
Lysandra got a 22.
Denis got a 13.
Louis got a 14.
The DC was 23.
No!
You can, someone come and look at my laptop, so I look what it says right there.
I hate you.
Like as in the... Oh, so an individual needed 23.
Yeah.
Damn it.
A shadow passes over the ship, slow and careening. And as you look above, you see 3 other airships descending upon your position.
3?
Shit.
The central vessel, a massive galleon with rows and rows of cannons lining either side, gleaming white sails stripped with silver and purple, the colours of the Ether Corps Guard.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
Before Holly can call for her crew, you hear a low and monotonous from the massive flagship, and one of the smaller ether clippers peels off from the rest, breaking from formation and descends on the Halyghast. Crew, please roll initiative, and that is where we will end our session.
Well, shit.
That did not go at all how I had planned for Feng's character journey to go in that first 2 weeks. Holy shit.
When Lysandra was like 20, I was like, come on, Amber, come on,
I
Amber.
had to roll a nat 20 to be able to get 23. I got a 19.
It was pretty hard.
It was.
Yeah.
I've only got a +3 to perception.
Had I rolled higher, I have a +7. I so could have got that.
That's
I
why
also
the
had a
DC was so
+7.
hard.
Just we both rolled like shit.
I'm not playing a smart or wise character. I'm playing a character who's strong.
No, we knew that.
Alrighty, gang, do we have a selfless plug today?
I have a really fun selfless plug. So I love watching a lot of illustrators and character designers on YouTube. There's been one that I've been watching a lot of content of as she's been releasing tons over the Halloween season. Her name is Prickly Alpaca, and
What a great name.
I know, right? She does incredible character design process videos going from the concept to actually developing them and then doing the final copy of it. And a lot of that goes into actually creating costumes and props and things like that. And it's so interesting as an artist to see her creative process, and it's like inspirational as well. So you can find her on pretty much all socials, but I would highly recommend checking out her YouTube. Just the way she does her content, the way she films, the way she talks is so entertaining.
And as always, we would also like to thank Twisted Pint Tavern for their guide of ships and sailings, their homebrew pack, which we are using for this podcast. Go check out their YouTube and their Patreon and look at some of their free content. Really, really good stuff. Nice and streamlined, easily accessible for all your players. And with that, we will see you next week aboard the Halyghast, or what that remains of it.
Hey. See you then.
Good on you, fat Albert.